Another unique outing for the season comes in the form of the acclaimed Far Beyond the Stars. After the death of a close friend due to the ongoing war, Sisko suddenly starts to see visions of 20th century Earth. Eventually these visions overpower him and he becomes Benny Russell, a science fiction writer in the 1950s. After seeing a drawing of a space station, Benny begins writing Deep Space Nine. Quite frankly, there is so much to talk about with this one episode, it warrants its own entire video essay, and to sum up all of its rich details and powerful themes in the time I have is virtually impossible. On a surface level, the episode offers fans a nice treat in seeing many of the actors out of their heavy prosthetic makeup, such as Rene Aubergenois, Armin Shimmerman, and Michael Dorn among others. I especially appreciate Michael Dorn as a fictional baseball player Willie Hawkins. As great as Dorn is as Worf, he rarely gets the opportunity to show his range as an actor, so it's welcome to see him play a charming celebrity type. The setting alone feels like it could be its own show, with the writers of the episode clearly conveying their deep love of classic sci-fi literature, with many references and nods to authors and stories of the era. While the characters are influenced by their main DS9 counterparts, each one also exists as their own fleshed out character. At the same time, the entire setting is also a meta-commentary on the relationship between the DS9 cast and crew and the fans of the show. But there's also some trademark ambiguity, as the episode leaves the audience to decide if Deep Space Nine really is all imagined by Benny Russell. As I said, there is so much to discuss in this episode, but central to the story is the subject of racism. A despicable part of the backlash to Deep Space Nine I mentioned earlier, beyond the space station setting, was the resistance to a non-Caucasian actor in the lead role. Despite the progressive ideals often conveyed in Star Trek, bigotry does rear its ugly head in the fandom, which also extended to Star Trek Voyager following the announcement of a female captain. And to this day, one can find a vast array of moronic comments complaining about so-called forced diversity in the more recent Star Trek shows. On this subject in particular, I would highly recommend this excellent essay by friend of the channel, Captain Pikachu. In order to tackle this subject properly, the production team asked Avery Brooks himself to direct the episode. It was a tall order, as although Brooks had directed several episodes before, he had never directed one in which he had such a large role in front of the camera as well. However, he saw it as a unique opportunity to do this story justice, and so he accepted the job. The drama of the episode stems from Benny's editor Douglas Pabst, rejecting Deep Space Nine because of its black lead character. As the other writers debate the morals of holding the story back, eventually they hit upon a less than perfect compromise, to keep the story as is, but make it the dream of a contemporary man. In Benny's personal life, he also has to contend with abusive police officers, who gun down a young friend of his before savagely beating him. Weeks after his beating, Benny arrives back at work, excited to finally see his story in print, only to be informed the magazine won't be printed that month, and Benny himself has been fired. The final monologue by Avery Brooks is simply gut-wrenching to watch, as the actor-director consciously drew from his own experiences with racism from the scene. All of the cruelty and pain Benny has experienced for no other reason than the colour of his skin breaks through to the surface, with Brooks delivering a raw and stunningly powerful performance.
That culture, I created it, and it's real! Don't you understand? It is real! I created it, and it's real! It's real!
They call cut, and he's not coming out. And I know what that feels like as an actor. You're gone. And he was gone.
I'd have to say that it was the most important moment for me in the entire 7 years.